Hello, everyone, whoever's watching this. My name's John Nishimoto. I am local Colorado Springs artist. Born in Seattle, Washington. Moved here when I was 14. Went to high school over at Manitou High School. A little bit about myself. I'm a bit of a jack of all trades. Went to UCCS, got a degree in teaching and education. Those are the same thing. And science, specifically biology. Went on to be a rock climbing guide for a bit. I did speed skating for a bit and worked at Skate City. Was a physics teacher over in Manitou for a while. 1,000,000,000,000,000,000 jobs. Did firefighting for a little bit. And now I'm doing real estate investing, and I've started forming my own art practice. And so to tell you a little bit about my work, to start off, the concept and name of the show is Shou Ga Nai, which is effectively it's a concept, and it's a Japanese concept that specifically speaks about this action and existence of not giving up, but allowing things that are to be what they are, and to not fold from them, but to temper yourself. And so it was used commonly. My father used to use this word a lot to me, or this phrase. He used to say "shikata ga nai," which is it's effectively the same meaning. And "shikata ga nai" means there's nothing that can be done. And so my father and my uncle and my grandparents were interned. Not my father. My uncle was born in an internment camp. My father was born right after. And one of the main phrases that got them through that World War II internment was this exact phrase, which was, we're not going to allow this horrible thing. We live on the coast. We just got here. We're immigrants. Now we're getting shipped to these weird little camps, and we don't have freedom anymore. We're not going to allow this to break us. We're going to find peace in this scenario. Life exists as life exists, and it's our interpretation of it to find peace or not peace. And so I specifically named this body of work based on that, due to a few different things that were going on in my life. Specifically, and first and foremost, my father passed away in 2021, April 18th. Funny enough, it was just his anniversary of that. And those kind of scenarios are the scenarios that really temper us as human beings. They really show you how you and what you can do to accommodate interpersonally and mentally with these horrible things. We don't expect them to happen. We don't expect these kind of things to occur. And myself, as someone who fixes things all the time, I fix things. And these things are not necessarily fixable. And so this concept of shikata ga nai or Shou Ga Nai is something that I've meditated on and worked through my art making process as well as the show, in that it's a development of this happened, it's unfixable, there's nothing that can be done. And so how internally am I going to navigate this? And I wish I could say I navigated it with absolute meditative practice and made art and all of that, but you don't. But over time, you reflect on your actions and go, is this who I want to be through this process? Is this what my father would have wanted for me? And so each of these pieces is related to different conversations and different things that I've meditated on as I work on them. There's two fundamental practices I included in these works. Within these charcoal works, intersection, balance, etc., 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 it's specifically two fundamental components, and they're old Japanese techniques. One being shosugiban, which is a traditional Japanese wood burning technique. Originally used for preservation, so you have 10,000-year-old temples. When you burn wood, it makes a layer of carbon. Insects, mold, other things don't like carbon, and so the structures wouldn't rot. They'd stick around forever. And then the second concept which is a bit unrelated, but I always wanted to figure out a way to integrate the two, is kintsugi, which is a pottery technique. And so you take a piece of pottery, a beautiful, lovely piece of pottery, you shatter it on the ground. And you can look at it and you can go, oh no, I've broken a piece of pottery. I better throw it away. Or you can say, Shikata Ga Nai, there's nothing that can be done, but how do I find beauty in this situation? And you take all the pieces and you can mend them together with gold, and you can make something more beautiful through hardship than the original piece. And so I've taken burned wood, charcoal, and I've inlaid it with gold to work on this like symbolization of there's scenarios that are out of your control. Wood burning is very much a fundamental process in lack of control. You can control at least where the fire goes if you're controlling the fire, and sometimes you don't. But other than that, you can't control the cracks. You can't control any of those, where they appear, how they interlace, how they create lines throughout the wood. All you can do is your actions after it's done. And so that's the first body of work, and that's these. And a lot of it is just a dialogue between myself and the piece, and seeing what is this piece telling me. And sometimes there's not something that I see in a piece, and I have a giant pile of burned wood in my backyard, so who knows. This second body of work right here that I feel like is really cohesive with the first body of work is specifically a technique, a Japanese technique called Dorodango, meaning mud dumpling, which is really cute. It's effectively mud and straw, and you're taking it in through sheer perseverance. You're taking it and you're rounding it, and you're rounding it, and you're rounding it, and you're rounding it. And you continue to polish it over many, many, many hours into something that you could never recognize as its original materials and as something as beautiful as it becomes. And both of these techniques fundamentally exist within a Japanese aesthetic concept called wabi-sabi, which is effectively finding beauty in simplicity or imperfection. And so a lot of Japanese artwork is finding these moments of perfection and beauty in something that we maybe don't see that in. So this body of work is really, it really was it was a component and a process for me of healing, of dialogue, of it was cathartic in a way, and it's an unfinished thing. It's the thing, if anyone is watching this who has lost someone, there's reoccurring themes that I've talked to people about. One of them being this constant state of reaching out for dialogue. Oh, I wonder what, grandma did, and I want to hear her story. And these things become lost. And you can't, unless they wrote down in a journal, but even then, you never can get exactly the dialogue and answers you want. And so some of this for me are these dialogues that I'd like to occur. And so as I work through them, it's a recognition of truth, and it's a dialogue that I wish I could have, if that makes sense. So my name's John Nishimoto. Thank you very much if you look at my work, and I hope you have an absolutely lovely day.